Beautiful morning. Little bit of a hangover. I'm at Catterline again. So massive tide. It's quite early in the morning, but I've taken my time coming onto the mark because I don't want to catch the mid ebb because I'll be flying down the coast. The plan today is to fish until low water, so I've got about 2.5 hours until slack tide, and then scarper back home to watch football and to avoid the wind. This will pick up from the southwest. The southwest doesn't normally represent a problem because I'm on the east coast, but it gets quite fresh, and because it's such a big tide, I think it's like 5.8 meters, that'll be going against the flood tide, and then you get this wind against tide situation, which is horrendous. So I'll be dodging that. I'll be safely at home by that point. So hopefully we get some fish. Not fished this reef on a big tide before, so this will be interesting. I'll catch up with you once we're on the mark, and we'll see what kind of rate of drift we've got. Okay, I'm on the mark. Tide is ripping through. I predicted this. We'll see if we can get the lure down to the bottom. It's going to ease off all the time. I'm doing a knot and a half across the ground at the moment, which is quite a lot. The problem when the tide is so fast is that, just like that, you might struggle to feel the bottom, and then you lose gear a lot. So let's see what happens. The fish like the tide flow, so I need to learn to like it. Water's pretty murky today, so I don't know if that's going to affect the lure fishing. See what happens. Actually feel like I hooked up there and missed it. Let's see what happens. I mean, this tide will die off every time I drift it, right through until about 10 o'clock is slack water. Hopefully we can get into something. As I say, I'm not confident I'm near the bottom. Maybe the next drift there'll be a little bit less tide, perhaps. Okay, so remarkably, hooked into a fish. Didn't anticipate. I thought I'd hook the bottom again, and then it started pulling back. So I am amazed. I'd kind of written this session off. Hopefully the camera angle is alright. This is actually not a bad resident codling. I can tell that this cod has been living on this ground for the summer, because she's got a beautiful dark colour. And look at that. Wait till you see this. This cod has got some teeth on it. Will be very likely hooked. Oh, that's my thumb, thanks. Wait till you see this. It's been, I don't know, has it been savaged or hit by a prop? I don't know, but she's still feeding, so hopefully that heals. You won't want to eat it, will you? Let's pop it back. I'll give you a view of her pretty side, actually. There we go. Beat the blank. I'm amazed. It's given me a bit of faith. Despite the dirty water, I'm going to continue. Well, would you believe it? Very next drop, I have hooked, I think, is a new species for me at this reef. I think it might be a coley, maybe a swamp pollock. Let's have a look. Why it's so hard to get such a small fish on board. That's no, it's a pollock. I think it's hard to tell when they're so small. Look at that greedy little bugger. So I'm going to say a pollock because the bottom lip is protruding so far out compared to the top lip. See that? Really get a view, all you're going to see is fingers. She stays still. See that jaw? Right, the protrusion. That's how you identify pollock versus coley. That's the easiest way. Anyway. Pop it back. Yeah. He's gone. So I've come right inshore. I've got 0.5 knots adrift, so I'm able to make contact with the bottom a lot easier. And I've come right down to a much smaller lure because I thought I'm just going to be scratching around for fish in here, but there's fish in here, and there may be some quality fish in here. I'm still drifting north with the tide, coming up to some nice rock features. The ground looks pretty decent. Let's see if we can't winkle out a bigger pollock or a cod without a savaged back. Okay, fish on. I was just coming up over a bank of ground and he's fighting quite plucky. I don't think he's very big, but he's quite aggressive. So what could it be? Oh, it's a wrasse. It's not a bad wrasse actually. Let's have a look at that. That is not a bad wrasse. He's taking a liking for what I think is a little Biscay shad. I lost the last lure, by the way. Chose not to put that on camera. Quite good at losing lures. Now, disgorge it. Right in his teeth. Come on, let go. Right, look at that. That is not a bad wrasse. Fingers out the way. Starting to get the beautiful colours if you look on his head. Lovely wrasse. Not the best of fights. I thought it was smaller than it is, but I am in shallower water, so. Right, let's get him back. Let's get the lure back on the bottom and see if we can pick up another one. Okay, I'm just coming up to the top of the bank where I picked up that wrasse last time. As forecast, the conditions are just starting to pick up. You might be able to see it on the sea. It never looks the same on the camera, but I'm coming towards low tide anyway, so might make this my last trip. So we'll just see what happens. Might pick up a monster fish and change my mind, but so not the best session, but I'm actually chuffed to bits. I got some fish, to be honest, because the water is awful, as I've said. I've had to come inshore because the tide was screaming out on the outer reef. And we've seen some fish, 3 different species. I guess we can count the pollock as a catch. It's the smallest pollock in the world. And this has given me food for thought because I've never tried this inshore ground before. It looks fantastic. There's lots of kelp beds, uncovering as we approach low tide. Bound to be full of wrasse. This bay is renowned for wrasse from shore. So what I probably need to do is make sure I've got some smaller lures, because there's a lot less tide here, there's a lot less depth, and you want a lure that just about touches the bottom. You just won't catch if you're fishing too heavy. You can see on the sounder what looks like a kelp bed that I'm going through now. If I was a wrasse, I would live in a kelp bed. The direction of the wind has changed my drift direction, and sometimes that can cock the fish up. So it's pushing me in towards the rocks rather than going with the tide. I was going across the rocks before. Sometimes that can look a little bit unnatural to the fish. So I think I'm going to call it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Give me some likes and any comments. I'll always respond. See you next time. Thank you very much.